Hello, and welcome to the Common Corner. It feels strange to say that because I have not filmed the video in my, around my dear round table in, I think it's been over a month, question mark. It is currently the 18th, Saturday. I am filming on a Saturday instead of a Sunday because I will be at a market for the whole day tomorrow, helping my partner out in selling his jewelry products. Or rings and earrings. I'm very excited for it, but I will be not at home during daylight. So here we are sitting today at the Common Corner on a Saturday. All right, so yes, it feels strange to be here talking out loud, but feels also very good. Okay. I took a good rest last weekend after a very busy first week back in London. After coming back home from Finland, I was there for a good 3 weeks, and I made 3 videos while I was there. And coming back to London was very hectic. My life was kind of on the go right away after coming back. So I was very tired last weekend, but also very grateful because the Common Corner turned 1 year old on the 14th. I wanted to show just a little sneak peek of what my current journal is looking like, my current Hobonichi Avec. And I just wanted to show the spread where let's see, where I talked about the Common Corner turning 1 year old. When was it? Here we go. I will do a full kind of talk about what it's felt like to be in this book at the end of the month. So probably next week, I suspect. But yes, here we go. Let me move my 2024 journals out of the way, which will be the focus of this video in just a little bit. So here we go. This is what the spread looked like for the 14th and the 15th. Here I drew a little cake with a candle for number 1 here because the Common Corner turned 1 year old. We also got 5,000 subscribers in the beginning of January, which I think was just something that I would not have expected when I first started this channel, exactly, or now a little bit more than a year ago. And it's interesting because I want to show the page that I made when I did start my channel. Let's see here. So we would go to, yes, this is the right one. Oh, why did I? Let's see now. Yes, okay, so turning page to the new year, 2024. Okay, 13th and 14th. The beginning of Common Corner. I did indeed realize what I wanted to do next. I filmed a 32-minute long video of me rambling through my journaling system. So that's very sweet. I wasn't talking that much more about it because, as I've mentioned many times, I started the channel for my sisters and I didn't think I was gonna do it again. But I think then by the following week, well, here I've said my first ever video reached almost 800 views. I would have never thought that there would be a little community behind, in this area of, journaling. And here I did the first counter of the Common Corner community, 165 humans, and now 5,000 of you have joined this lovely community, this little corner of mine. So thank you very much for that. It feels a huge pleasure and a huge privilege to get to talk about this interest of mine to you all. So thank you for being here. I have made a flip through of this journal in July, yes, in July, when I switched into this one. I was quite interested to realize that this book is a lot thicker compared to this one. They both have 6 months in them, but you can see that this one, like when I hold them loosely as well, this one is a little bit thicker. So I've really enjoyed putting things between my pages, it seems, which is quite fun. And I just love looking at them together. Oh, goodness. Okay, so this is the book we'll be focusing on today. I wanted to do like a full year flip through, but I think that would take too long. And as you can probably notice, the sunlight, well, it's not really been present with us today in London. So even if the sun hasn't set yet, there's a thick cloud over London and there's not a lot of light coming in. But yeah, I do want to say I really love this spread. There's been a lot of things happening, as you can see. So the Common Corner turned 1 year old. I had my last day of ophthalmology placement that day as well, so I drew a little eye for that. I finished a book called, I finished a book called What a Time to Be Alive. And I do want to mention this because the publisher of this book, Scepter, I think, yes, looks like that. So yes, the publisher of What a Time to Be Alive by Jenny Mustard, who is a Swedish person who has lived in London for 10 years. I have been following her for a really, really long time. Just a bit short of 10 years to be exact. And they sent me an advanced reader's copy of What a Time to Be Alive. It's Jenny's second novel coming out in April 2025. And I can't believe that I got the chance to receive this copy. And I think it's because they saw that I had a small following on YouTube, so they wanted to send it to me because of that. I love the cover as well. It's such a vibe. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I finished reading it in just a few days. It really got me out of my reading slump that I've been in for the last 4-5 months. I was reading the same book for like 4 months, which I think is a sign that the book isn't very good, and also that I'm not making time for reading. So yes, anyway, that's that. Finished it then. Really cool. I still can't get over the fact that I got to read it in advance of it coming out, and it was a really, really good one. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm a very tough critic as well. So please be excited for it when it comes out in April. Okay. And was there something else I wanted to say? I think there was, but I can't remember. Oh yes, there's notebooks in the book as well. The main character writes in a notebook quite a lot, so that was enjoyable, as you can imagine, as well. I'm now going to correct this Japanese character here. It was missing one of the dashes in the second character. Okay, my brain is a little bit all over the place. I wasn't feeling too well in the beginning of the week, hence the person with the crying face. And I'm not sure why, maybe just a bit too overwhelmed after coming back from Finland, and I was traveling right away to another part in the UK. I'm gonna reflect on that experience maybe in a later video, but it was something very exciting that I mentioned on my Instagram. And one other thing is that it was a full moon when the Common Corner turned 1 year old, and I'm a big fan of the moon. The moon is a very good friend of mine, and that felt very special, and it felt like a new beginning, a fresh start for the Common Corner. I'm not sure yet what the next year will look like for this channel. I'm just going to be going with the flow, but I do want to look back on the last 6 months. I keep saying other things and not getting into the point of the video, but I did realize that these are the books that I filled under your eyes. So under the lens of this camera, I showed you my progress, my process of working through these 2 books. And that feels also very cool. I'm glad that I started the channel in the beginning of the year, because now I have 2 full books completed and also digitally documented, which is, it's just really amazing. I've been thinking if something ever happens to my books, I'm grateful that I have them recorded on this channel. I'm now also fixing the character on that one. Someone very kindly corrected me in the video that I was setting up my 2025 January to June journal. So now they all have the correct character on them. Okay, excited to dive into this new book, but another time this month, hopefully. It's going well, I will tell you that. And now this one. I wish the light was better, but we shall do with what we have. I was really excited setting this one up, and it was featured 3 times in the Changing Book series in June. And that was really fun to kind of get to work on it while showing it to you all. My commonplacing took place in Commonplace 6 and Commonplace 7 during the time of this book, and I filled 2 Traveler's Notebook extra ephemera inserts while I was in this book as well, and those are all in here. So when I come back to these books years and years after their completion, I know that these 2 books existed at the same, well actually no, these 4 books existed at the same time as this book, so it will give a more comprehensive view of my life. I think I'd also like to include here Hobonichi weeks. Yeah, so the 2024 Hobonichi weeks I was using from August to November, and that's definitely where you can see a change in my monthly pages in this book. That's why I kind of wanted to reference that there. Okay, I feel like you've seen these many times now, but I just want to look through it once more. And I think I'm going to reflect a bit about this a little bit as well. I see that I actually still need to fill in the index. This is something that I rarely use exactly on the day that I'm going through these pages, but while I was in this book in December, I was looking through the index for July and August. These are the things that I watched, like movies that I watched during the entire time of being in this book, I believe. Yeah. That's cool. And then this list continued on in the weeks. Oh, I think I skipped over my habit tracker. You can see a trend in both the index as well as the habit tracker that this is the one thing that still needs to be finished. I actually didn't realize that. This book has already been living in my bookshelf, kind of archived, and I didn't realize that these still need to be completed. So I do want to do that before archiving it properly. Going through my monthly pages now. It's interesting, these definitely changed shape as I went on, but the mood chart remained the same, and documenting the weather remained the same for the entire time. And it's super interesting to see when did I have those dips in my mood, what happened during that time. And it just, I don't know, it just really taught me a lot about myself and how my kind of mental health behaves, and what I've been able to do to kind of cope with those feelings, but also like what things have raised my mood to kind of that top square there. I'm noticing my voice is a little bit scratchy because I've just had a total of, I think, 3 or 4 hours of tutoring today. So I've been talking a lot already. October was a really good month, but I was working a lot in my weeks to kind of archive things. So there was a bit of layover between this book and my weeks in both October and November. And then I kind of changed the way that I use this monthly spread, which worked a lot better for me. And it was actually something that I was missing from my system, was kind of this archival of the things that were good within the day, to kind of give me a chance to focus on the good things in my life on a daily basis, which is what December was the start of. Previously, I used to use the monthly spread as a full documentation of the day and kind of just really quick recording of what exactly happened. That wasn't really working anymore once I had gotten my weeks, because there's a lot of repetition, and that doesn't really work with my brain. November was a bit of a difficult start for me, but things got better towards the end, luckily. And then in Finland, I was just a lot more kind of feeling stable and happy and well rested. My December was a really, really good one. I also really like how it looks, to be quite honest. And then these were my plans for January. Then I think the weekly pages are something that I really rarely show in my weekly videos. What a coincidence that the weekly pages are not shown in the weekly videos. But these are something that are just so functional for me. I put my timetable. Yes, my timetable exists on these pages. And on top of it being a timetable, I like to sometimes add in photos of what happened during those days, especially if there's something that I've printed out and they don't fit in my daily pages. So this is kind of like the first stop of extra ephemera. So extra ephemera that doesn't fit my daily pages often goes here, as you can notice, and then like some photos and stuff. I also like using my stickers here as well. And then after, if I have extra ephemera that's too big for these pages, then it goes into my traveler's notebook extra ephemera insert. I hope that makes sense. Oh, this is the day I moved. That's sweet. Moving day. Yeah. There's just a lot of good memories here. This is when I went to Finland in August, right after moving. So I had basically moved like just a few days before, a week before going to Finland. So it was quite a hectic month. I will definitely say that actually the entire last half of a year has been a little bit hectic, if I'm being honest. We had this trip in Finland, which was just beautiful, and then after we came back, we had some other friends visit our place, and then I started uni right away after that. I think how I said it here, yeah, intro to fourth year. So that's when I started uni at the end of August, and yes, we had some friends visiting, and then after that I was just kind of getting used to the new, more strict schedule. It's just very interesting to see now exactly what I've done like during these days. Of course, I only see the things that have officially been planned. So I'm doing things in the morning and in the in the evening that are not necessarily shown here, but things that have been planned, like for example, meeting this Joe Journals at the Barbican from about 5:30 to 8. That was like a planned thing. So those are the kind of things that I put here. I think I also have this little piece of ephemera that I randomly found from 23rd of September, which is one of my sister's birthdays. Or like I have 4 younger sisters, so this is the sister's birthday that comes right after me. So I do want to put that in here as well. Ah, the first journal meetup. So yeah, so basically on all of these days I have my daily pages, and it's just nice to get that connection between the daily pages and the weekly pages through these photographs, because then I'm kind of excited to see what did I write about the first journal meetup in London that myself and Bronte Plans organized, or Bronte Schwanek. Yeah, very fun, very cool. So I will put this one in here. I might just use a little bit of washi tape to just stick it in. It's just nice to have these physical pieces of memories stuck here and there. Especially now, I feel like I've actually found quite a bit of things that were from the timeline that this book took in. Oh, I'm really struggling with English. Okay. I found a lot of things after completing this book that were memories from the days that happened within this book that I've then been sticking in afterwards. As you know, this book did get quite chunky and difficult to write in towards the end. So I was a bit aware of that while I was in the book, kind of towards the end. But now afterwards, I of course don't mind putting in all the things because it doesn't matter anymore that it's bulky. Here I was on holiday in Hong Kong, and of course things are not as scheduled then, so I just used these kind of lines to show roughly what we did during each day, so kind of I can remember the timelines of the days a little bit better. This is then me coming back to London and, you know, the days starting to look as they used to before as well, with a lot of to-do lists. It's really interesting, like these pages, yeah, they're not strictly planning, they're also memory keeping, but they just help me understand my time a little bit better, I guess. I love this Halloween spread. Yeah, I often kind of struggle to explain exactly how I use them, but I guess that's the thing, is that we all use these pages exactly according to our own needs. And sometimes that is definitely a little bit difficult to explain. Here, it's also like I wasn't planning on taking 3 days off because I was really sick in November, but that happened, and then I hadn't had the chance to plan my week yet because I had already gotten sick kind of before this week started. So afterwards, I just blocked out this entire 3 days, and yeah, and basically it's just interesting to see how those days were used. You know, mostly lying in bed and watching Gilmore Girls. I have stickers from various places. This is from Alex Thomas Creative that they got for me when we met at the London Journal meetup at last. That was really fun. Oh, and then I went to Brussels for a little bit as well. Actually, I think it was like here. Yeah, Brussels. At the end of November. Oh, and then I got my Twisby diamonds, which are now in their like prime spot over there. Oh no, my candle is doing strange things. I think I need to quickly take care of that before continuing. Okay, I'm here with another candle holder. It has some like wax and old matches and stuff, but it's just as dear to me. This one was actually made by my mother a few years ago. I think one of her first ceramic works, and I have this candle here that I painted at one of my friend's workshops. So that's just as good. Okay, let's keep going. I think at this point, kind of it's the theme continuous. Things are color-coded, and I will maybe talk about that at some point more specifically. And always when I go on holiday, these pages kind of become a bit more empty and just have some kind of memories in them. Something definitely happened in the last week of December where I was kind of missing the indexing, and I was missing my kind of sleep tracking and so on. And here clearly I'm missing the outline of what happened during those days. Part of me very much wants to go back in here and fill that in. And the last page is empty because I already moved on into the next book. But I will see. I am noticing myself a little bit tired this January. So I'm trying to take it easy and not put too many things on my to-do list. I was discussing this with a friend and who said that Januaries are very slumpy. And I think I've just come to accept it. This January is slumpy indeed. This is the turning the page. I had written some things from that I learned from my previous Avec, so the January to June 2024 Avec in here, and I really like that. And I actually did something similar in this year's Avec. My little key that I used consistently. Yeah, just of the important stuff. Borrowed text, things to remember, and movies and books. I remember starting this book when I was still in my exam period, and I was studying a lot when I was within these pages, and I was really nervous that I wouldn't pass my exams. And I was kind of just manifesting in here that everything would go well, which it did. Everything went absolutely fine. I had no reason to worry that much, but yeah. I was dreaming of what I'm gonna do in post-exam life. My handwriting has actually changed quite a lot since these pages. I had already started using a fountain pen, so this entire book was done in fountain pen. But I have now been using different kinds of fountain pen compared to these beginning pages, and I think that has changed the way that I write a little bit. Oh, the last exam. I had saved the sticker from the Manchester Stationery Fest on the 29th of June. I had saved this sticker specifically to put when I finish my exams. Ah, so good, so good. And I went to celebrate that with a really good friend of mine from medical school. Oh yes, here I was like, is this the first time that I got a fountain pen? But no, this is when I received my black Kaweco All Sport from Joe. This was us having coffee in one of my favorite cafes in London. Movies, lots of movies during summertime. I absolutely love that. I was just having such a good time when I started my holiday in the summer after my exams. 6 months of the Common Corner, and now we have a full year, more than a year. I never thought about, am I gonna keep doing this? It was just that every week I felt like making a video, so that just kept happening. We went to Traveller's Company official partner shop. I had only been in the Traveller's Notebook for about 2 weeks at this point, and I loved that I was so excited by it that I wanted to go visit the store in Eastbourne in the UK, which is, I think, maybe the only official partner shop in the UK. I have a feeling, maybe, perhaps. I think some of the themes, oh yes, this is when I passed my exams, and I had done the whole spread in green in collaboration with What Up V. That was really fun. What was I about to say? Yes, I noticed that the themes from the past year are food, stationery, and movies. That's what I talk about a lot, is the food that I've made or eaten or gone somewhere to eat. You know, case in point. Or the stationery, another case in point. Or the films, another case in point, just on one spread. And then also documenting my moving process from living with a really, really good friend for 2 years. I really had the best time with her, to then making the last video in the original Common Corner that I started this channel in, and then eventually moving house to live with my boyfriend. I really like this. I was kind of manifesting the different kind of moods that I wanted in this new home of ours, and here it is. It feels really strange looking at this because it feels like not much time has passed, but these pages show that it was 1st of August when we moved. That's almost 6 months ago, I feel like. It was really fun documenting the whole moving day, and then also kind of starting to plan the layout of the flat as well. This is like just living room, so our like storage, bathroom, and bedroom is still missing from this layout. I kept thinking that I would do a house tour at one point, but then I realized that that's not really well, first of all, actually, our flat doesn't feel finished even yet, even, you know, 5 months down the line. But I feel like that's quite normal. It takes time for the house to become a home. But I think I might just do a little tour of the actual common corner at some point, rather than one of the entire place. Here's a photo of what it first looked like, and this actually now looks a lot more lived in, which is nice. These red dots represent things that I want to return back to. And I've already taken a note of them, and yeah, it's really good to have those red dots of, you know, when you have so much text, they just give you an idea of what are the exact things that I wanted my future self to focus on. This was when I started to think about the week's book, and I was like obsessing over it for a few days. I love that for me though. I'm really happy that I accepted my need for the week's book. Then it was the trip to Finland, which was lovely. That's when I made the first Common Corner collaboration with my sisters, or 3 of my sisters. I went to Lapland with some friends who came to visit from the UK. Ate a lot of good food once again and enjoyed the sea view. My hometown is by the seaside, so I really love the sea. I just love it. That's one thing that I miss in London, is that yes, we have the Thames River, but it's not that kind of, it doesn't give the comfort of a large body of water that I'm very used to. Yeah. This is when we got a wardrobe for our bedroom. It's just nice to see all of these things. I can never get over how happy I am by the fact that I've documented all of this. It's difficult to put into words somehow. Maybe the words will come to me some other time. Always just recording what I'm doing in my books, which is really sweet because, you know, I already have the book here in front of me, but then I'm also doing reflection on what I'm doing in the book, if that makes sense. Starting 4th year of medicine. This is a sticker that I had saved for that specifically. And I started to introduce some more drawing in my pages as well, which is really fun. That's what I want to do more. I want to be a little bit more like playful and creative in my pages, rather than just kind of gluing in things and making a collage out of them. I would love to draw some more. I was writing with Joe's fountain pens here, trying them all out. She has such a good collection. This is, I think, oh yeah, I had gotten my Miffy lamp, my little Miffy night lamp, which actually was featured in my videos a few times. And I kept drawing it. Oh, Carl had done a little bit of drawing here, my partner. And then we went to see Beetlejuice, which I freaking loved. Oh my goodness, I had so much fun seeing that film. So much fun. I've always been a little bit spooked by anything horror and so on. And I know that Beetlejuice is not very much a horror film, but I thought it was a bit spooky, just like the right amount of spooky. I've come to really like, I mean, I've always appreciated that I've made space for the Common Corner community in my pages, but it's just really nice to see how more and more people are joining it. I don't know, I just feel like, you know, when you love something so much and then you get to share it, it becomes so much more beautiful. Yeah. Oh, here I said that I've started collecting movies I'd like to watch in my 100, and I think that this was indeed movies that I would like to watch. But I haven't looked at this in a little bit, I think. Oh, yeah. That's good. I think have I started that in my new book? Well, I definitely will. Movies that I'd like to watch. But this is actually something that I'm now doing in my week's book, actually. So yeah. Yeah, I'm collecting movies that I'm watching in my weeks because it's the only book that I have for the entire year. So it will be nice to see at the very end of the year all the movies that I've seen. Oh. I don't know, there's just a lot of good memories here, and I find myself just being like, oh, every now and then. Here I had finally gotten these Japanese trousers from Muji that I had been thinking about for 2 years, and they were finally on a big sale. The sale is not shown here, but they were on sale, and I just was so happy to finally get them. Here we went to visit Bath. I've just stuck this in. It's the kind of like a guide for like a walking guide of Bath. I've been there many times before, but this time I took a car to go there with me for his birthday. Happy birthday. And I got some things from there, and I just put down the stickers from the stationery. One of my favorite coffee places in London, Monmouth Coffee Company in Covent Garden. It's interesting to do a flip through because I sometimes feel like it's just something that's so personal, like what you went through in the last 6 months. And I wish I had the words to express what's going on in my mind right now, kind of the feelings that I'm having, but it's difficult. I'm not really finding the right words. I have had a kind of a hazy week though, so maybe that counts for it a little bit. Yeah. This is when I went to Hong Kong, and I was doing a bit of planning on how I'm gonna be archiving the travels and watching a bunch of films on the plane. And travel journaling is always messy in the best way. It's difficult to plan exactly what's gonna happen and so on, and I often end up writing a few days after the trip because there's just so much to process and put down. And I will be very honest, I'm still working on the actual travel journal that I started when I was in Hong Kong. I don't know, just the reality and busyness of life has just hit me over the past month or so. Oh my goodness, we just had so much good food in Hong Kong. Yeah, like I said, once again, food, stationery, and films have just been the big theme. My main kind of areas of interest and focus from the past year. Oh, this is a whole spread that I backfilled after Hong Kong, and it's really fun because I have a bit more of like control over how this spread was looking like, and I really enjoyed doing that, making the collage kind of afterwards, and then getting to write a full bit afterwards. It was really, really fun. It's something quite something quite different from my usual daily journaling. And this is when I've come back to London, so you can see that the pages start to look a bit more how they usually do. It's interesting in that way. This is just a space that I love to come back to. These pages really are a big comfort to me. They are where my routine just thrives. The routine of doing these pages is just, I don't know, it's so important to me. This was my one of my Halloween costumes, in addition to dressing up as a clown, and then this was my other Halloween costume. I was dressed up as a businessman, and then I was wearing this name tag. This is something that I've now also started doing in my placements, in my new book as well, is like highlighting what I'm experiencing in medical school. And I notice that when I'm having a good time in my hospital placements, in my work placements, I'm really writing about them in my book, and I love the way that they influence my pages. because I don't know, yes, medicine really is a huge part of my life. It takes a lot of time and I enjoy it, so I'm thinking about it quite a lot. So it will show up in my pages as well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Oh, Halloween was great. I was in surgery that day as well, and I met up with some friends afterwards and we just had a very cozy evening, and I kind of headed home a bit early and then continued my Home Alone Halloween, coined by Megan. She made a zine out of this phrase for Halloween, Megan Rhiannon, I mean. So I was enjoying a Home Alone Halloween as well. It was a very good day. And then November is strange. Like I've written here, I always forget that this month exists, and I always have a strange time in November. It doesn't really agree with my body somehow, and with my body I also mean my brain. So I was having a strange time, as you can see by this Good Thomas sticker here. And then lots of just strange things happened in November. You know, politics in the US were weird to look at, and so on. The weather was also awful. I didn't see the sun for 15 days, I think. And I learned the word pathetic fallacy from my friend, which I also used a lot, which is like when the horrible gloomy weather fits your horrible gloomy mood. But then once I saw the sun again, when was it? It was not yet, almost there. Yeah, here. So I saw the sun, I started feeling better. It just gave me a reason to go outside and enjoy the weather there and get fresh air and let my thoughts wander. And that did me a lot of good. Then I had a few very busy days going to Bristol in the UK. This was a leaf that I collected from there, and kind of like laminated. I attended a conference there for like medical humanities and went to a Cigarettes After Sex concert that same night that I came back, and the next day I was in Brussels. So a very busy few days, and I spent the weekend in Brussels and kind of then took it easy when I came back. Ate a lot of the Belgian chocolate that I got from there. Oh yes, here I got my Twisby Ecos, which is what I mentioned when I was looking at my weekly pages, and yeah, I love them so much. And then also someone gave me a nib to exchange, which was actually surprisingly easy to switch in these pens. So now I use the extra fine in the black pen, and I still use the broad in the red. And but first I loved the pen so much that I just kept writing with the broad nib in black, so it really looks quite, it really like reaches your eyes, I would just say it that way. I went to see Wicked, which was entertaining, but I feel like my standard for cinema and film is so high from this past year that I am indeed a very tough critic. I still enjoyed it. It was fun. December. And I think these pages I've gone through with you quite recently. I was using the stickers from Hubman and Chop Girl, and the broad nibbed pen for a few days after the month had started, before I was able to switch to the extra fine. Oh yes, and then I had my Moomin advent calendar, so there's a Moomin themed sticker on every single page, which is, I think, just absolutely brilliant. So the Moomin stickers, Moomins are really keeping me company in December. And look at that. Look how different the broad looks from the fine. Extra fine, may I add. Yeah. Lots of films. I just really love how many films I saw this past year. I should actually calculate, but I think it's somewhere in the 60s. Like, I think I saw about 60 movies in the past year, which is really cool because it's just a hobby that I've only developed in the past few years. to be honest, I'm feeling a bit emotional now that I'm looking at these because I haven't properly appreciated the pages after I finished them. As you can see, here's a lot of red. It just means that it's been backfilled. And I'm continuing that these days as well. It teaches you something when you see what things have been backfilled and when and why and so on. I also mixed my own ink, my own red ink from two of my favorite red inks, but neither of which were completely perfect. And I mixed them and I got the perfect red ink. I feel it's yeah, works well. Backfilled. I'm still doing this kind of box if it's entirely backfilled, because I don't find it like, it's somehow a bit too much for my eyes if the entire page is in red ink. And I have a little bit of the wrapping paper that I had used to wrap my family's gifts. Just the usual, you know. And here we are. The year wraps to an end and the pages are finished here. I was in Lapland, actually, in the very north of Lapland, and we saw some northern lights on New Year's Eve. So that's kind of presented by this paper here. And it was a very good start to the new year. Here I just have my changing books to enjoy list. And yeah, I've learned now that there's a few things I'd still like to do in the beginning of the book. But other than that, it's all finished. I want to thank you for supporting me in my journey of existing within notebooks over the past year. And I'm very excited for the things that I get to share with you in this upcoming year. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. I think my feet might be poking through here. I'm wearing traditional Finnish wool socks that have been knitted by my grandma. If you see them, you probably will. But yes, until next time, I wish you a great day. Bye bye.